Welcome to Ready Layer 1, a crypto podcast that focuses on the NEAR ecosystem.
And we're back with another Who Sharded, and this week we're going to break down the news again, powered by NEARWEEK.
Yeah, and I think at the beginning of the episode last week, I said NEAR, we kind of did a price check. It's at like 330. It isn't it's kind of just moving.
Staying steady, it's still down, but staying steady.
Yeah, but this is that time like in these bear markets where like, you kind of, it's funny, you hear narratives in the bull market and now you're hearing narratives in the bear market. It's like, wait for it to go horizontal for a while. Once people forget, it's like all these like bear market survival sayings.
Yeah, I know.
Funny. Yeah, all I know is that in 2018, no one talked to me about it.
Right, of course.
And people are still asking me about it now. So I'm like, well, if I'm waiting for no one to talk to me about it, we got some time.
Right, we're okay.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about NEARcon, having early bird tickets. We're going to talk about the USN 2.0 launch.
Yeah, we got wallets, lots of wallet stuff.
So much wallets.
There's plenty of wallet action in here.
Yeah.
And Stake Wars. We're going to hit on that too, as well as some interesting stories about leveraging different protocols on top of NEAR.
Yeah, and we got a whiteboard series. They're coming back. If you haven't, the old school whiteboard series, there's a new whiteboard series.
Absolutely.
We got some social stuff. We got some NEARWEEK highlights, some tooling, and some ReFi on NEAR.
Yeah,
and let's do it, Joe. All right, and let's jump in. First big news. NEARcon early tickets coming up. NEARcon is in Portugal, September 11th through 14th.
Yeah. Early bird tickets are on sale now, and then regular tickets are coming up soon. No further details have been announced. Really, they just kind of announced where like the venue is and stuff like that. But should be a great event. They're expecting thousands of people, so it's exciting.
And Joe, I was trying to like share that news without sounding like just some like radio show announcer, like when you listen to radio shows and they're playing at the Staples Center, It's kind of how I felt.
Might as well just ride with it.
Just jump
go full radio. It's fine.
All right, here we are today. We got USN on the debate. Yeah. I'm gonna cut that. They did so. USN dropped this week.
Yeah, so version 2 of USN, which is, so I'm sensing a theme here over time now that I think we've been hitting on time and time again of like, the time to go back and make a decision that maybe feels like the smarter way to go instead of just plowing forward. And NEAR keeps doing that, like I don't want to say like they're perfect and like this is definitely the right approach, but again, I really appreciate that they decided that, hey, version 1 probably isn't the right way to go for long-term stability, so they went back and said, hey, let's make some changes here. And I encourage people, there was a great spaces that you can listen to a recording of, and definitely there's articles that we'll link to here that you should absolutely read through to better understand it. But they are really putting a lot of thought into building a true stable coin on NEAR that can be here for the long term.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of how USN works because frankly, there was I listened to that spaces and it's going to take me a little bit of time to wrap my head around it, especially enough to like talk about it with any sort of cohesiveness.
Yeah.
But the thing I agree with you, like NEAR keeps making these decisions of like, I don't want to call it the conservative decision, but the thought out, slower, maybe not quick to shill. And
yeah,
we've talked about it many times. Like, was that intentional? Was it lucky?
No, I mean, but that's an important part of this, right? Like, I think it's, if you say whether it's actually intentional or not, I think that's almost beside the point at this, where we are. They are taking advantage of that and saying, we have this opportunity to go slower. They're embracing the bear market of allowing themselves to continue to add tooling, to add more resources, to onboard more things, and be set up for the long term. So we'll have to see how this continues to go. But I like that they're continuing to think about this.
Agree. And, you need a stable coin. And it's, like, it's something that's, I know right now with like the Terra Luna thing and like the market in general, people are like,
sure,
but you still need a decentralized stable coin somehow.
Yeah, you need something.
Yeah, because in this, right, I mean, the interesting thing that's come out the last few weeks is how centralized has been getting smoked and decentralized has been doing okay.
Well, Right. I mean, for a quick sidebar here with that, I mean, right? I mean,
Yeah.
again, the centralization piece is what is kind of again antithesis to the ethos of what crypto was really originally supposed to do.
Yeah.
And of course, now you're running into the same problems that you have in the non-crypto world with centralization. Back to that with these exchanges, and so, I know a lot of people got hurt with, financially with some of the bear
Yeah.
market stuff and some of these crashes, but I'm really positive and hopeful that I think we're going to come out of this much better as a community. And those people who are actually really building quality things for the future are the ones who are going to win.
Speaking of decentralization, staking wars is coming up.
Yes.
And that's a really cool thing. And there's actually a podcast that AVB just did that we can link to that will get way more in depth of what staking wars is. But
Yeah.
basically, Near does a pretty cool thing that they have sort of like a staking competition to bring on new validators. Right now, there's 101 validators, 4 shards. And now they're bringing on, what is it, 200 to 300 more validators to do chunk
Yeah.
producing,
These are
right?
chunk validators. Yeah.
Chunk
So,
validators.
yeah. So they're not full validators. Right. So these are the ones that are going to help again with the more decentralization, help with the, expansion of the sharding and everything else like that.
There's private shards on Near. And I was
Yes.
just thinking of like what that is going to do, because that is like the big thing for corporations to get in on blockchain is to have a private shard. Like they aren't going to go public blockchain. They just aren't, like big businesses. And the fact they're doing private shards, super interesting.
And when you think, and I think quickly here, if you think about again mass adoption, right?
Yep.
So if I am building out something that is leveraging things in the real world, but I need a blockchain, and I can have the power of something like Near, but have the privacy of it being my own shard. Yet, if I need to then interoperate with the public for some piece of it, and it's all of there, and I have a standardized protocol, versus having my own chain and managing all of that and having people having to work with us. But if I can build off a standardized protocol, it just really opens the door for more businesses and large enterprises to start to leverage things in Web3 that I think where they were probably more hesitant previously, but having these type of opportunities. And Near's not the only one doing this,
Yeah.
but Near is definitely well suited again because of the sharding setup
Hmm.
to be able to handle this really well.
Exactly. And it
So
just helps decentralize the entire blockchain.
yeah,
Uh,
so Stake Wars, and Who Sharded fits perfect together.
exactly. And we'll link to the people who can really go deep down that rabbit hole with you if you're interested.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Following up. Okay. So let's just jump in. There's a bunch of wallet stuff this week.
Yeah.
Let's just like run down. So FTX US to top up your Near wallet.
Yeah, I mean, so if you haven't been in the Near wallet recently, so there is a button where you can go and you can add to your wallet, and there's just a lot more choices in there now. There used to only be a couple of choices. For a while, it was only depending on where you were in the world. I think it was only like MoonPay, maybe. Now there's FTX, there's NearPay, there's MoonPay,
Yeah.
Utorg. There's also some exchange support. So it's really growing. But the big one that just came in now is FTX US, and so that a lot of people use that, and it's directly in the wallet now.
Yeah. And Joe, question for you on a technical side. I know I hear a lot of people in Discord and stuff be like, Near needs its own wallet like Sol has Phantom, right? But
Mm-hmm.
Near has the web wallet, which I think is pretty awesome. But I'm sure there's got to be technically some reason why people are saying that. Like, is it just better to have a separate wallet? Or I'm trying to like figure out why, because I've been playing around with the Near wallet for over a year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been like really smooth. I can mint NFTs from coffee shops. Like, I don't know. To me, it seems like what's the
So
deal?
I don't think it's so not it's not necessarily a technical issue, right? I think it's two parts. One, it's a little bit psychological of like if I'm in crypto, I am used to the separate wallet, whether it's the browser extension or the mobile app. I'm used to that piece of it. And so like it feels like, oh, this is my wallet. Where when you're on the open web, it feels a little bit more like, oh, this is accessible to anybody. So people
Oh,
get concerned about security and safety. If you leave, like if you're using a shared computer,
hmm.
like there's things like that. Like you have to be more conscious about logging out and things around there. Again, if you have your own stuff and no one's touching your things, sure, it's not really an issue. But that's, I think, more of what the problem is. I
Okay.
mean, in reality, I mean, from a technical standpoint, what you can do with the Near wallet is just it's so much more advanced, and so yeah, there's just a little bit of a disconnect there of how people perceive that. But again, I mean, there is also a benefit too of where you are on the go even, and if
Yeah.
you have it in, self-contained, it's a little bit more comfortable for people and things like that. But again, if you're using a ledger, all these other things, then again, from a security, it's not really any better one way or the other.
See, that's what I wanted to get at, right? Like, because if you have a phone, so say like your phone is like a point of security risk, depending on what phone you have. If you have an Android versus an iPhone, like
A
I
hundred
almost feel like
percent.
that's way more
Yeah.
of a risk than having it on a web browser, to me personally. But I don't know. I mean, I over time, but so to
Yeah.
pivot to the wallets being released, there's not an actual Near wallet that's been released. There's just a couple that have started supporting Near, correct? This week, the
So
SafePal or iSafePal.
yeah, so iSafePal is kind of like a ledger, like they have like a hardware and software component, and so now they're supporting the Near protocol, so like you can integrate it in there. It's just like when we talked about like the Brave wallet, supporting Near. I mean, supporting Aurora, right? Like it's now, it's all that seems. It's more just about supporting that.
All right, and now let's move on to the whiteboard series with Ilya. All right,
Yeah,
basically they used to. There was a whiteboard series years ago.
most of them are all pre mainnet launch,
Yep.
and they're really very interesting video. You can go; they're all on YouTube. Um, you can go on, and essentially, it's Ilya and Alex, the original founders, going up and saying, to different blockchains, teach us how your blockchain works. And so whether it's, for Solana or Cosmos or all these other different ones, right? They have these whiteboard sessions literally in front of a whiteboard where the other co-founders of these other chains talk about how their stuff works. And Ilya and Alex would ask questions and they would say, and it wasn't like to challenge or say one's better than the other. It's purely just a look under the hood to try to understand. And they wanted to, from their standpoint, of like, are we doing the right things? And I am sure there were decisions made as they
Yeah.
were leading up to mainnet that were changed or I guess driven by what was talked about in some of those whiteboard sessions.
Yeah.
So they're very technical, but there is some good stuff there. And if you are interested in this at all, even if you are not super technical, I would absolutely recommend looking through some of these different videos just to get a sense of that thought process. What this video is now Ilya going and saying, I'm going to do a whiteboard session about Near. And now you get a sense of, what is really under the hood and what's really happening. And it's him really trying to break down and explain, how Near really works and
Wow.
get a sense of like why Near is really different. So it's a good video. If you're interested in this type of stuff, I absolutely encourage people to check all of them out. They're all really interesting, but this is the most recent one.
Yeah. And I just echo what you say, and I'll just say, man, they don't do any production value on these things. From
No, I
my,
mean it's
it
super
is
raw.
content and it's raw, and it's like here's a phone recording a whiteboard.
I mean, yeah, I mean something like you just feel like you're sitting there in the conference room and
Yeah.
you're just listening to these guys go, and it's great. And I mean, it's you really get to see it's not edited, like so like if there's some mistakes or if they want to talk through something, it's all in the video really. And so it's a really interesting look into this different thought process.
Yep. Cool, man. Well, that's awesome. I hope you check them out. The links will be in the description. And then
Absolutely.
couple things. So NEARWEEK, we're powered by NEARWEEK. I have been subscribed to NEARWEEK for a long time, and I definitely use it to keep up with my news. And so we'll just do a little shout out with like in case you missed it this week, right? They had a DeFi recording this week that had something to do with like USN and Refinance and Trisolaris and stuff, right? That's worth people giving a listen
Yeah.
to. And then they also have the 5 biggest announcements in Q2. So those were like 2 things that links below. But Joe, did anything stand out in the top 5 announcements?
The biggest thing I think that stands out is like those top 5 announcements are all about growth and engagement.
Yep.
It's all the stuff we've kind of hit on already, right? It's the Brave Wallet, Armored Kingdom, Sweatcoin, Aurora Plus. Like, I mean, all of these things are about,
Mhm.
simplifying the experience, onboarding new users, expanding the ecosystem. Like, that's where we're going. And that's awesome that, these are the top news. It's not something like the top news is like, this got hacked. right,
Yeah. Well, or Aurora prevented another hack or like
right,
something, you know?
right,
Um,
right. It's really
yeah.
positive stuff.
Yeah. And I hope we just get to share every week more about these growth. Like
Yeah,
now it's about like, I hope Near turns into not like one singular thing that grows it, but that over the next year or two, people are just kind of like, what's Near doing? And at every couple weeks, just something stacking and getting a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger. You know,
yeah,
Armored Kingdom over here, Sweatcoin over here, you know, just slowly. Because I mean, we've got the Web 2 games to Web 3. I mean, you know, I'm a huge, I mean, gaming on Near is like the stuff I've been seeing and the people we're, you know, getting in touch with and interviewing. It's just like,
yeah.
that's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, we just there's a nice link that we're going to share of Sigma Software. They put together a nice little like kind of starter tutorial thing of like what is that transition from like a Web 2 gaming to Web 3 really looks like, and it's getting into the concept of like how do you leverage that wallet, how do you maybe leverage NFTs, things like that. So it's a nice kind of starter pack to kind of just see what they're thinking about. And then again, it's heavily focused though on Near Protocol because Near Protocol really is well built for gaming.
It is. And so my non-crypto friends always ask me like, what do you mean by gaming? And I go, what game have you played? And everybody always has like, oh, Mario Kart, GoldenEye, or Halo, or, you know, Grand Theft Auto, whatever their era. You can always tell like someone's era by their game. And I
Yep.
go, well, what do you have from it now? Like you put all those hours in. Do you have anything from it? Like, did you? And they go, no. I'm like, so now what's so cool about Web3 GameFi is that you could have like imagine like I played Super Mario Brothers 2 all the time.
Hmm.
It would be so cool right now if I'd gotten some NFTs from that game and then the new Super Mario's comes out and then you can play like with your NFTs from like multiple games ago. Like, and that's just like me just spitballing like a basic example. And people are like, oh, that'd be cool. You know?
Yeah.
Or like if you won tournaments, did you win money? Was there any way to sort of like, you know, make a small little side passive income? If you're putting in 10 hours a day on a game,
Yeah.
I don't know,
I
man.
mean, there's just really so many opportunities, and to really rethink, some of also too like the architecture of some of these games, I think is going to be really exciting to see over the next few years. Because like I mean, just think about some of the problems that people always talk about too with gaming, right?
Yep.
Like what happens with my saved thing? I upgrade my system, that transition. What if I have multiple systems, right? If I have multiple Xbox, I have multiple Switches, what is there a better way to transition all of that saved data, that status, all of those things? Can something like a blockchain help with that? I don't know the exact answer. I'm not in gaming per se, but these are things I think people can really think about, and there's opportunity here to possibly really change how all of this mechanics work.
Yeah. I'm just so excited for it because like it just seems so like a natural evolution of gaming. There's a couple like little social platform projects on Near that had some news this week. So Connect 3 and Myriad. Is it Myriad?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So, well, the one I noticed, like, so the Myriad officially is live network on Polkadot. So they launched on Octopus Network, and now they're Polkadot. Which we interviewed Sheldon, and he said that's a goal of Octopus Network is that people can like leverage it to build because they don't need as much upfront capital, and then they can then graduate, say, or whatever, or move on to go use Polkadot once you get larger. And is this the first time one has done that? Am I reading it right? Like, is that what this is? Because that's
Yeah, I mean, and it could be aware that maybe they're supporting both. I'm not exactly
we
sure.
need to dive in and just interview them.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
honestly,
it
yeah,
looks like they're probably doing a few different things here, but yeah. So,
yeah.
so they're actually, if you look at the announcement, it says we're live on Polkadot's network,
Okay.
but they're also still powered by the Octopus network within the Near ecosystem. So it looks like they're doing multi-chain support here,
All right, we
which
need to.
is
You know what, people? We're
interesting.
gonna interview them. We're gonna get an interview with them because I
We'll
want
have
to
to,
like
yeah,
figure out one what was their social media approach because I'm like I don't love social media in general. Like I'm like I'll use what is in Web 2, but Web 3 social media better blow my mind with like a use
yeah,
case.
it's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's that. And then Joe, do you want to jump in on the tooling? That's definitely your expertise.
So there's two stories that kind of hit the radar for people. Rad Rugs is a research in a research type of agency that's on Solana now. They are coming over to Near. They're partnering with NEARtracker. NEARtracker is integrated right now into Paris, web marketplace, and so this is more about uh, NFT data research and things like that, of like what's happening, how, really integrating uh, how your possible NFT investments are working, things like that. It's again, it's just another like opportunity to have more tools and features, and hopefully it helps expand the network a little bit and opportunities. The one for myself that I think is more in my wheelhouse is Nearsend. Nearsend is really interesting. So they just went live on mainnet, and what it does is they allow you to do multi-send of both Near and NFTs to multiple addresses in seconds. And so what
Oh,
it
nice.
does is if I need to transfer out something, right? So let's say like we're doing some kind of giveaway, and we have to give it to 100 people. Well, instead of having to go one by one by one by one for the same type of thing, it lets you start to now essentially bulk send.
Could it be
So,
so? I'm just thinking this out through like, say you do an NFT, and say
mhm.
NFTs evolve into where I hope they do, where they actually become some sort of like great way to be part of a project, right? And say you do an NFT with 10,000 NFTs, everyone has an NFT. You have all those addresses. You can put those in an Excel sheet, drop batch, and say
Mhm.
they get like a payout for whatever reason. You just boop, and you get them all paid out. Nice.
You could do it that way too. Yeah, it's so like allows you to, like, obviously some people are building stuff into contracts, right? So things are happening automatically.
Yeah.
But now like there's gonna be times where like I need to do things manually, right? Where I can't always just have the contract doing certain stuff. And so now this gives you opportunity to do those type of things with this tool. Makes it a lot easier.
Nice. You could like airdrop something to your top 50 or 100
Yeah.
active
Uh,
addresses or whatever. There's so many ways this could go.
yeah, exactly.
So something that I'm super stoked about, I love like open forest protocol, right? Like I want to also interview them because I don't even know
Hmm.
fully what they're doing, but I know that they're trying to do something that's a little bit off the beaten path with forestry and trees and
Yep.
like, I don't know. I want to like really dive in. So 3Agro is now partnering or leveraging open forest protocol to, what is it?
Yeah.
Basically like record and validate over 5,000 hecta-acres of rainforest. Like these are the kind of things that like I wonder from like a business point of view, are they just like philanthropic, or is there any profit to be made, or is it not even about that? It's just about like saving the
Uh,
world. I don't
no,
know.
well, no, I'm sure that I'm sure there's business related tasks here. This piece more or less is about leveraging. I think again how it fits into Near, right? So, open source protocol is built on top of Near,
Mhm.
and then from there, three Argo. Now I'm saying three
Yeah.
aggro, three aggro is using open source protocol to actually do the what it listed here as measurement, reporting, and verification.
Gotcha.
So all that stuff goes goes into the blockchain, and now where they have to say, here's what's being, whether it's cut or whatever they're, the different things they're doing throughout that land. It's all then easily trackable and, through open forest protocol on top of Near.
Oh, all right. All right. Gotcha. Cool. Well, I really want to get to, I really want to have like a sit down with them too, man. Like I'm starting to just like, the more I'm in Near, the more I want to just like talk to people and understand why they're doing things. Cause there's just so many cool things going on.
Yeah.
And that I think is like something that like in this bear market, like there's so many things going on, which is so different than 2018. There were things going on in 2018, but it wasn't like anywhere. Like there wasn't like
Yeah.
ones. It was a whole different space and vibe. And
Right.
then
Right.
one more
Right.
tree thing, or not tree, but like, vertical farms being launched.
Yes.
And that's by,
Raise.
yeah. So I don't know much about, dude. I love the concept of vertical farms. Like what's going on Near? Nears, are there any other blockchains out there that are doing like this kind of stuff? I mean, there might be, but this is
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
neat.
I'm sure there is, but you're really again, you're seeing more of these things start to pop up on Near. One, because they do have like an ecological mission statement of being carbon neutral. So that's
Yeah.
one net positive. It's so inexpensive, right? Like and so to build these other protocols and different businesses on top of it, like it really just makes a ton of sense. So I don't know the exact full integration here, but we'll put a link into it. I think, again, it's just really nice to see things outside of the digital space leveraging this type of technology to hopefully grow and expand.
And that's everything going on this week, everybody. For again, thank you, NEARWEEK, for being powered by NEARWEEK.
Yes,
And
thank you.
Joe, as always, love catching up with you. And
Yeah,
we'll talk soon.
absolutely. Sounds good. Have a great week, everybody.
Ready Layer 1 is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose.
You should not make any decision, financial investment, trading, or otherwise based on any of the information presented in this podcast without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or financial advisory.